right, so Angie, you're to my immediate right. Let's hear from you. Tell us all the things.
Yeah, for sure. So, hi everyone. So I can stand up so everyone can see me. I am so excited to be here with you all. I am Florida State Representative Angie Nixon. As Amanda stated earlier, born and raised in Jacksonville, Florida. Duval. Okay, I don't know if y'all know about that, but that is our chance. Okay. And so Duval County, I am a wife. I am a mother of 5. Yeah, it's a lot of them. And and I am a graduate of the University of Florida, and I've had the honor and privilege to serve you all in the State House for the past 6 years. I'm not going to go into my bio because Amanda went into it, but I just really want to say that before I decided to run for this seat, I actually traveled all across the state of Florida and had conversations with thousands of Floridians. One of those stops was even here in Sarasota, where there was probably over 100 people there that day, right? And so having conversations with Floridians like Miss D, who's from North Florida, who unfortunately her cancer has returned. And Miss D may potentially have to refinance her home because the cost of her medical expenses are exceeding the cost of her coverage for her health insurance. But guess what, y'all? This won't even be the first time that she had to refinance her home. It won't even be the second. This is going to possibly have to be her 3rd time that she has to refinance her home because healthcare is unaffordable. Then I've had conversations with folks like James, who's in Central Florida, who's working longer hours and working harder than ever, sometimes overnight, and he still simply can't get ahead because the cost of gas is going up, and now the cost of groceries is going up. And then I'm having conversations with people, parents in Broward County, who are still afraid to send their children to school because they are fearful that they won't return home alive. And then I'm also traveling. I'm traveling all the way from the Panhandle down south to the Keys. And I'm eating at fast food restaurants because your girl can't cook. But I'm looking at 70, 80, 90-year-olds working, not because they want to, but because they have to. I'm running for United States Senate because change can't wait. I'm running for United States Senate because I believe that the government should be working for us and not against us. I'm running for United States Senate because there are people in Washington, D.C. right now who are saying things like they want to make America great again. They want to return us back to the good old days. But y'all know the good old days were never good enough for all of us. They weren't good enough for people with disabilities. They weren't good enough for women. They weren't good enough for workers. They definitely weren't good enough for Black folks. We literally see that they are trying to remove our right to choose who represents us and decide who the politicians get to represent. That isn't democracy. And as a matter of fact, speaking of democracy, I got into a little trouble a few weeks ago. Just a little bit. A little good trouble. Necessary trouble. Good trouble. Necessary trouble. But I know there were some people that were saying things like, oh, she lacks decorum. She's not professional. What good is decorum when our democracy is being destroyed?
That's right.
What good is decorum when our institutions are falling by the wayside because people only care about getting richer? I'm running for United States Senate because I believe we deserve to live in a place where everyone has the opportunity to be healthy, to be prosperous, to be safe, to experience joy, rest. That's why I'm running, and I'm the only one that can beat Ashley Moody come November. And so I am here asking for your support because we need someone that can galvanize people. We need some folks that can get folks off the sidelines as someone who unseated an incumbent before, did it while I was 9 months pregnant with COVID. Your girl ain't got no baby right now in her belly. So y'all know I'm working hard, right? So I'm excited to be here and to take your questions. But I am Angie Nixon, running for USC.
So I'm Matthew Montavon, and it's an honor to be here between these two powerful women.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here today. First, I want to thank all the leaders, volunteers, the pastor, the community advocates, and neighbors for continuing to show up for Newtown and for Sarasota and Manatee counties. I'm honored to stand alongside incredible candidates today, including Angie Nixon, Tamika, Lyles, Jimmy Glover, Megan Tennimon, and Beth Mayberry, wherever Beth is. Oh, there she is. And so many others who've stepped forward because they believe public service is about serving people. But today it isn't about us, it's about you. It's about families working hard every day, wondering why everything keeps getting more expensive. It's about grandparents who spent their lives building the country, but now worrying about Social Security and Medicare and health care. It's about young people who are doing everything right, but wondering how are they going to afford a house. It's about communities in Newtown that have contributed so much to Sarasota's history and culture, yet too often feel left out of the opportunities that they helped create. I'm running for Congress because I believe every community deserves to be seen, heard, and invested in. Not just during election season, every day.
Yes.
For too long, Americans have been told to divide themselves by race, by religion, by immigrant status, Democrats versus Republicans, urban versus rural. But when I talk to people throughout Sarasota, Charlotte, and Lee counties, I hear the same concerns, no matter who they voted for. People want affordable housing. They want good paying jobs. They want safe neighborhoods. They want quality schools. They want health care they can afford. People want a future they can believe in. And I believe in those goals belong to all of us. When I get to Congress, I will fight to lower the cost of living for working families. I will support expanding affordable housing so teachers, nurses, first responders, service workers, and young families could live where they work. I will work to protect Social Security and Medicare because our seniors earn those benefits through hard work and sacrifice. I will fight to make healthcare more affordable and accessible because nobody should have to choose between paying rent or going to the doctor. And I will support stronger educational opportunities because every child, regardless of zip code, deserves a pathway to success. I see you. I believe in you. Your future should not be determined by where you grow up, how much money your family has, or who you know. America works best when talent is given an opportunity. We should focus on education, human intelligence, rather than artificial intelligence.
Yes, please. Right? Yes, please.
There's tremendous talent here in Newtown. The next entrepreneur, the next musician, the next engineer, the next teacher, the next mayor, the next member of Congress, and maybe even the next president of the United States. They could be in this room today. My commitment is simple. I will work every day to make sure government works for everyday people, not just those with money, influence, and connections. Because democracy is stronger when every voice matters, when every neighborhood matters, when every family matters, when every child matters. Today I ask for your support, but more I ask for your partnership. Because lasting change doesn't come from one elected official. It comes from communities standing together. It comes from neighbors helping neighbors. It comes from people refusing to give up on each other. Let's build a future where opportunity reaches every corner of our district and our state. Let's build a future where no community is forgotten. Let's build a future where our children can dream bigger than we ever imagined. Let's do this together. My campaign is committed to Newtown. We've been in this community. We held a fish fry at Strokes. We held a meet and greet at the Newtown Library, and we've been canvassing. I've been a fighter all my life, and I will fight with you and for you for a better future. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless the people of Florida.
All right, good afternoon. Good afternoon. All right, first I want to apologize for my tardiness. One thing that we can be sure of with this redistricting that has been done, particularly to my race, was the intent to ensure that they made it difficult for one person to serve 6 counties. So, I want to prove them wrong. So, as I stand here, I have been traveling. I've seen my sister here so often, but I feel like I'm traveling like she is. I said to my campaign, I think I might need to get a bus too, because I'm moving. But nevertheless, I'm here, and I'm here because it was important for you all to understand what we have going on in Congressional District 16. Now, I know that my colleagues here have expanded greatly on the issues that are prevalent in our communities. We all know about what we're fighting when it comes to health care, Social Security, Medicaid, all of those essential things that our most vulnerable populations are doing without. Meanwhile, they decide to have UFC fights on the White House lawn. They make and pass bills to cut more than $200 million from our women and children. Meanwhile, we spend almost $2 billion a day in a senseless war. So these things and many more are reasons why I decided to run. I must say that shortly after jumping into this race, the Republicans crowned a woman who represents the RNC, someone that they knew would continue to push their agenda. And while I must agree that I do believe this district calls for a woman's representation, because a woman has never represented this district before, and now it's time.
Yes.
While I agree with that, I disagree with who they chose. So I believe that District 16 deserves a woman to represent it that believes that health care is a human right. A woman that has taught and protected our children for more than a decade in the classroom, and continue to teach our next generation as a college professor. A woman that has given to the community by implementing a nonprofit to make sure that we continue to advocate for the needs of the community and bridge those needs with elected officials because they've gone unheard. A woman who saw the need for people in financial crisis and created her own mediation firm to mediate for those individuals to prevent homelessness. A woman who is also a United States veteran. A woman who also has 3 sons who I am very concerned about their future. We have a lot to fight for. A lot to fight for. And it is extremely important that the decisions made are decisions that are going to change the course of our history. As I look here and I look at my colleague and I look at how much work she's done, we run in the same circles. We do a lot of advocacy with the same people. And I look at what we're battling out here. She tends to make history in this state. Make history. We're in 2026, and we've never had a United States Senator as a woman or a person of color. Now, the same is with Congressional District 16. Right. Before the gerrymandering, we had someone sitting in that seat for 20 years, and we did not have a woman's representation or a person of color at all. We don't look for you all to support just because we're women and people of color. We have done the work in these communities. And it is often said how black women are the backbone of the Democratic Party, but yet we fight for a seat at the table. I think that if we're going to ever elect a woman, if we're going to break these chains that the MAGA Republicans want us to stay in, if we're going to do that, I think now is the time that we do that. I think now is the time that we show them that going backwards is not where we tend to go. We tend to go forward. We tend to stand on the protections of the United States Constitution. We intend to protect the voters and ensure that all voters have a right to be heard, not choices coming from the higher ups, those that are more privileged. We don't want that. We want to ensure that our most vulnerable are protected and heard in this time and moving forward. We want to ensure that our next generation has something to look forward to other than debt. This is not the America that I took an oath to serve. It is not. So I stand before you as a candidate for Congressional District 16, not a person coming for money or political influence or the backing of corporations or because someone has put their hand on the scale and said it's time for her. I come from a place where I've had to fight to get here. But I'm very qualified, very qualified. I stand here with a bachelor's of science in biology and sociology, with a concentration in criminal justice and a minor in political science, a master's in law, and now completing my dissertation for my doctorate in law and policy. I'm sorry, thank you so much. So, thank you. I ask for your vote on August 18th.
We can do some audience Q&A. If you'd like to raise your hand, Dean can come over here with the microphone. I can get us started with questions for anyone at the table. The first one is about affordability. Everyone is talking about affordability. Groceries, gas, rent, all the things. It's almost a buzzword. I even hear people from other parties talking about it, but I have a hard time thinking that they really understand. So when it comes to affordability, what can you do in your elected positions to actually bring prices down? Because sometimes we hear, oh, I'm going to vote for me and everything's going to be so much more affordable. But we know it doesn't work like that. So whoever would like to go first, what can you do in your elected position to actually make things more affordable?
I'll go first this time. We need to Congress to take control of the tariffs, because tariffs have driven up prices. We're paying a tax, it's a tax that comes to us as we buy our goods. We need to stop the war, because the war has cost us a fortune, and it's blocking the sale of oil, and the price of oil has gone up, and that's driving up the price of gasoline as well as so many products that needs to be transported. But we also have to think about the expenses that people have and help to allay those expenses. We need to get to universal health care. So many people's problems stem from the fact that they're running into bills that they cannot pay. And so by having a government system where you do have some health care for everybody, health care for all, would help so many people in terms of their affordability of their life. Those are the three main areas I would focus on.
Well, I think that before we can actually make true changes that our communities can actually feel, we have to get rid of this administration. So I'm all for getting this president out of office. That's what I'm voting for day one. I want to whip votes to see who's with me on that. Okay? Now, after then, I think that the second thing I would say was that we need to pull out of this war that's costing us almost $2 billion a day. That's not helping at all. Tariffs are also driving our prices up. I agree here that tariffs are driving them up, but the thing of it is that it's going to take time, and this is just honest talk. It's not going to be a flip of the switch, because the things that they've started, it takes time to now move backwards to undo it. So even when it comes to our gas prices and those things, I mean, I've listened to the experts, and the experts say that we're at least a year into that changing. Even if we stop right now and reverse course, we're still in it for another year. Now, I'm with you. I know that we want change like right now, and especially grocery prices. I mean, I was in the grocery yesterday and looked at a roast that cost $30. It's ridiculous. But there is no flip of the switch to it. I am 100% on board with universal health care. I think that we have a lot of people within the community going into debt because they can't afford to pay for it. So we have a lot of issues there, and there's a lot of bills in the House right now that are already designed to attack these issues. So I would definitely co-sponsor our equality bills that are raising the wages. I am on board with raising the wages. We already have a bill there for that. I would also co-sponsor universal health care. It's there already. All of those things that we can do to help, but there is no real answer to flip the switch. I'm sorry.
All right. Does anybody else have a question that they would like to ask?
Oh yeah, I'll do it really quickly.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I'm in total agreement with them. Look, y'all, the leading cause of bankruptcy is medical debt. Think about that. People are going bankrupt just because they're trying to stay alive. And so I am practical. I am a supporter and proponent of Medicare for all. But I think a way that we have to tackle it first is bring everybody back to the table, vote to extend the ACA subsidies, demand that the health insurance companies reopen open enrollment to drive those premium costs down, then reform the ACA as we figure out how we are going to pay for Medicare for all. But I want to be clear, we have money for Medicare for all because they're spending $1 billion in a ballroom that you can't dance in. They are. They're spending several tens of millions of dollars to clean out a reflection pond and paint it blue, and now it's full of green algae. So like they have the money. They're giving these no-bid contracts to their campaign donors, their family and friends. Meanwhile, Donald Trump's net worth has gone up $4 billion.
Yeah.
How y'all 401ks and savings accounts looking right now? So we need to, she said Dusty, we need to make sure that we are sending people to Washington, D.C. that aren't beholden to corporations. That means some of these corporate gems as well. They gotta go. And so I know there's this whole thing, vote blue no matter who. There are some Democrats that are in Washington, D.C. that are just as complicit and just as harmful as Republicans that are in office right now. And so you need to do your research on these Democrats. We're boldly being attacked. This moment requires bold leadership. It does not require status quo, timid leadership right now. I told y'all our institutions are being destroyed, and we cannot have someone that is towing the line because they're worried about whether or not some corporate PAC or some corporation is going to give them money. Like, no, their focus needs to be on the people. So that vote blue no matter who, do your research.
Does anybody have a question? You just don't mind standing up, stating your name, and then stating the question.
Hey, I'm John Heemstra. And I liked what I started to hear about all of you saying as well, Tamika and Matthew, about Congress reclaiming its authority to do certain things like regulate terrorists and declare war and not declare war. But I'd like to hear you or your take on clean energy, which has been reversed in multiple cases by the Trump administration via executive order in places where billions of dollars were paid for people to stop working, not get jobs, not produce clean energy after we trashed ourselves in the Strait of Hormuz. So if you have a plan for that, or are you aware or in contact with people who actually would push clean energy back into a national security savior rather than in the doghouse?
Yeah, for sure. So I'll tackle that first of all. I believe we need to definitely repeal a lot of the rollbacks that they did to the EPA. I'm a community organizer, and I believe in having advisory committees and surrounding myself with subject matter experts. I've had an advisory committee since my time in office, and I plan on having one after becoming your U.S. Senator because I don't know everything. But what I do know is that little Maya, who attends FAMU, who works for Clio Justice, has helped me craft my environmental justice platform. And I do know that we want to call for a moratorium on data centers as well. We also want to make sure that there is more teeth in enforcement. I believe that if we start going after these executives of these companies and arresting them, we can stop a lot of these problems with folks polluting in the environment. Just allowing them to pay a little bit of money here, a fine here and a fine there. No, some of these people need to be arrested because you know what? There are people that live in my community that have died because there is toxic dump sites. I was raised on an ash site. My brother was too, born and raised. Well, my brother was born in Texas, but my mom lived in Jacksonville on this ash site before she had him in Texas. My brother was born with cancer and one kidney. I don't think that's a coincidence. I have people calling my office right now, asthmatic, people having cancer in their brain, all these things. And it's because there's no teeth behind the enforcement of the EPA. People gotta go to jail. It's only about money for them. I support the Green New Deal. I believe that we need to work to get our carbon emissions down. I get almost all my clothes from Goodwill. I believe everyone should lower their carbon footprint so that we can make sure that we are keeping this world around longer for our kids. I also just lost my train of thought, but I believe we need to stop we need to end the subsidies for big oil. We need to make sure that we are creating more green jobs with solar. It's hot here. Jeez, the sun is beaming down. Think of all the electricity we could be collecting, right? Think of all of the solar, the wind, all the things. We on a peninsula. Some of the kids don't know that right now because they are disrupting the money for public education. I'm going into a tangent, but that's how I would start.
I 100% agree with Angie on her stance. I will say that I spent 2 years in overseas. I was stationed at Ramstein, and when I first got to Germany, I saw these windmills, and I didn't know that in my home, because I decided to stay off base so that my children could actually have that experience of being in another country among the actual people in the village. I didn't realize that my home didn't have central air and central heat, but it's not a thing there. And as I stayed there for 2 years, I noticed the difference in how they do things as opposed to how we do things here in our country. And we have so much to learn. But I think our issue is that we don't trust the very people that are our scientists, our specialists. Those individuals, we can't know everything about everything. And that's where I agree with Angie, with having these coalitions and people to advise us on the best way to do these things. Some things, yes, we know, excuse me, in just our activism, we know. But rolling back the EPA regulations, when we know that our scientists have told us over and over and over where we're going down the wrong road, is not the right thing to do. So we definitely need to remove that, and we need to add those subsidies back. Those subsidies that help us to move in the right direction, to help us to buy solar, because it's not cheap, but to help us to invest. They tell us that, hey, they want us to have electric cars, but when they build these electric cars, they're not affordable. So it makes it more difficult for our communities to actually purchase the cars so that we can do that, right? So we need to pull those subsidies back in so we make it more affordable for us to move back in the right direction with that.
We're going to go one step back before talking about energy. And that's our political system, which is bought by big corporations and big oil. And that's the biggest problem, is they've been able to buy people in Congress, they've been able to buy the president who's making a profit off of all of this. And so no matter how many scientists you talk to, which we all know the science now. We all know what's right. We all know this is foolish, what we're doing in terms of our energy policy. But it's the big oil dictating what we do. So I've taken a pledge to amend, and that's to add an amendment to the Constitution to say that voice can only come from the people, not from corporations. To get corporations out of politics, because this money is what's ruining it. But what else do you say after these two wonderful ladies made a statement? The fact is, it's an incredibly dumb policy. Now, renewable energy is the cheapest form of energy. And yet we cut the tube, and we wanted to revive coal, which is the worst form of energy. It's costly, it pollutes, and you got to dig up all kinds of land to get to it. China has taking over the market. And every other country in the world says, we got to go renewable, we got to go solar, except us, you know? And we have Trump lecturing the UN on how stupid they are. But China's taking over the world in solar energy. We should be in that industry. We should be dominating that industry. That's the future. And definitely when I get to Congress, I will be pushing for a complete reversal of the policy and to push for renewable energy.
Alrighty, I've got a question over here. If you just don't mind stating your name and asking the question, miss.
I'm Sheila Sanders, as some of you may know me as S.E. Sanders from a lawsuit back in '79 for district voting. But anyway, I believe if there was no tax deduction for all of these gifts that they're making, they wouldn't make them. It's costing us to have them donate and control us. And I further believe that not only as far as tax deductions, if there was real education, honest education, truth in education. You know, we're trying to get everything removed now except the truth. But we have no patience for what is real. We're into the instant. And this instant is costing us. And if you think it's expensive now, take a nap. And it'll be even more expensive. But I think if we take away the tax deductions from all of these lobbying expenses, there wouldn't be an investment in them. They would invest in Q&A. Any comments from those of you we will be voting for soon?
Well, we know that they like to tax the working class and have the working class to pay more in taxes than our billionaires and corporations. We know that that's not the right way to do things, but the only way to remove that is to remove those individuals who are in there who implemented it. I agree with you also with the funding in education. I agree with you in all of that as well. Our educational system is suffering greatly, and as an educator, I can speak to that very well. Teaching juniors and seniors world history and U.S. history for more than a decade, and to look at where we are now in this state and how that has been ripped out and how they want us to whitewash history. And I personally don't know how, as a professor that teach civic engagement now, I don't know how to talk about the Civil War, the American Civil War, without discussing slavery. So our teachers are fighting that here in this state. And on a federal level, when we look at the funding for our public school sector, it is being taken out of our public schools, given to the charter schools. Then the charter schools throw those students out for misbehaving, or they decide they don't want to go, or whatever the case may be, and they come back to the public school. Our teachers are digging in their pockets to pay for supplies and things that they need in their class when we're already last in the country in their salaries.
47.
So it's ridiculous. We have a lot of issues within the state, but on a federal level, when we're dealing with the issues of money, we have to recognize that that is an issue. When we fund these states, that money needs to actually go where we're funding it to go. And it doesn't go there. So we definitely need more oversight in these places, not just here in this state, but also on a federal level. We need more oversight to ensure that when that money, those funds are allocated, that it's actually making it back to the communities that it's supposed to make it to. Because you all are suffering because it's not getting there.
So to your point, thank you, Tamika. To your point, I want to be clear, you can get a tax deduction for donating to campaigns, but you can basically pay for tax breaks that way, right? And, you know, in a roundabout way. There were 88 companies that made over $105 billion last year, and they paid absolutely nothing in federal taxes. I'm going through a payment plan with the IRS for $15,000 right now. I didn't make nowhere near $105 billion. So I'm trying to figure out why I have to go into a payment plan for the IRS, and these people made over $105 billion and they paid nothing. That is why they say we don't have access to Medicare for all. That is why they say there is not enough money to ensure we have free child care. People should not get tax cuts because they can buy a jet or a yacht. Where are the people's tax breaks, right? Where are your tax breaks? And so we need to, as Tamika stated earlier, we need to change the folks who are making these decisions and pushing these policies.
Thank you so much. Matthew?
I'll go back to what I said before. We got to get money out of politics. People are buying privilege, and then they get the big contracts with money returned to them, and like the people who are running the immigration prisons. They donated to the Trump campaign, and now they're getting a windfall, and they're cutting back on the food for the prisoners because they want to save money and make a bigger profit. No, there's a lot of cruelty, there's inhumanity, and so many things. Our government is wrong in so many ways, and it's because of money determining what the policy should be. And the injustice in the tax system, where the wealthy are getting a huge break and getting a bigger yacht or a bigger jet, but not contributing to the country that helped them get to where they are.
Thank you so much. That is going to conclude the question and answer portion for our federal candidates. We have one more question? Yeah, Savannah will bring you the mic. We'll actually let one more question go through, and then we'll go ahead and we'll switch over here shortly to our school board candidates, and I will let our congressional candidates and our Senate candidate, and soon to be Senate-elect, say their outros, so that way you can just know a little bit more about them before they step aside and get some food and drink.
I have just one quick question to ask. So when it comes to local development and environmental protections in Florida, as far as the perk system and overdevelopment with the promise of a few affordable houses and affordable apartments in that development, how can we put a moratorium or how can you help towards stopping the growth, the overgrowth, preserving what we have and what makes Florida, Florida?
Yeah, so you just have to make sure that you are changing the folks at the top. Like, it's really that simple. And I mean, I know it sounds so cliche, but that's what it is. When you have people who, again, to Matt's point, like, they are selling, they're basically, Florida's for sale. America's for sale. The folks who are getting all of these contracts, the folks that are winning these bids to develop and all this thing, they're getting these kickbacks because of the campaign donations that they have made. Not only do we need to overturn Citizens United, but we also need to lower the amount, the threshold that people can even be able to donate, because there are some really wealthy people who may not be millionaires, right? But they're still influencing the elections, and you all should be able to influence the elections at the same level as wealthy folks. It's all about them, they're buying access. And so that's what we have to stop. And so we have to, you gotta put people in office who will do that, right? I know there was some guy that made a lot of donations to Ron DeSantis, and I think even the CFO, and then all of a sudden they turned around and sold him. He bought some land And then he bought a little bit of land and sold it for like $80 million or something like that. And it was like really small amount. And he donated to their campaign. So how do you stop that? You get big money out of politics. And you change the people who you elect. And you don't just elect corporate gems. It's really easy. It is really easy. But you gotta let people know about us. Y'all should be taking pictures of us right now. Yes. And going on social media, letting people know who we are. You should also be texting all of your friends and neighbors and family all across the state to let them know that we're in this race. You think people know we're in this race, but there's still a lot of people that don't know we're in this race. There's still a lot of people that don't even know who Ashley Moody is. Yeah. And so, let alone their Congress people that they're running against. And so, we need your help. If you want, it's not about if we can win, it's about if you all are ready to win. And if you are ready to win and get something different, then you gotta do something more. You gotta lean in. This is a civil rights moment, and I'm going into my closing so you can move on and we'll have to worry about it. This is a civil rights moment, and I am sorry to my elders that I see in the room that have already been here before. But we're here now, and so to the folks who maybe were smaller and maybe were non-existent back then, during the civil rights moment, you all got to decide what you want your grandkids and great-grandkids to say about you and how you showed up in this moment. What type of future do you want to leave to them? Are you going to put your head down and just say, I'm just going to let whatever happen to me happen? There ain't nothing, we can't change it. Are you going to lock arms and be inspired by our elders in this room that I know some of them got spat on? Got fire hoses sprayed on them. Dogs sicked on them. Axe handles bludgeoned in their heads. Like, how are we going to show up in this moment? I believe hardworking, everyday people should determine and shape what our communities look like and what our economies look like. Right now is the billionaire class, right now is corporations, and it doesn't have to be this way. We have real life examples of what happens when you put people-focused elected officials into office. The mayor of Baltimore has driven down crime. The mayor of New York, driven down crime, closed deficits, clean streets, made free child care. It ain't hard. And guess what he did? He taxed the rich. He got rid of slumlords. It's not hard. Elected officials ain't that smart. They try to make it seem like it's so complex and it's all this and that. No, they're trying to make you feel overwhelmed by what's happening. Those people are dumb. I work with them. They are. They don't know nothing. You ask them about a bill, they talking to the analysts. They don't know anything. It's time that you all, can you imagine if bus drivers were lawmakers, custodians, cafeteria workers, teachers? What type of single parents, what type of policies would they push? I was a single parent for 12 years. That's why I believe child care should be free. Because that would have allowed me to go to work more, right? That would have allowed our kids to start school on time and not be behind. That would have made sure that we have after-school programs so our kids can stay off the street. They worried about teen takeovers. Give the kids something to do. But no, they want to make money. They want to get richer. It's profitable to send our kids to private prisons instead of educating them. We got to get rid of private prisons. It's easy. It's simple. It can be done. We can change it. But you all have to knock on doors. You got to make phone calls. When they call y'all got to answer the call. We need campaign donations, even if it's $5 a month. It's something better than nothing. Right. So please help us if you really are ready to win and change our country for the better. Yes.
How do I follow that? Well, I'm the older generation, and I look at that history of civil rights and women's rights and gay rights and the changes we've gone through and facing up to our damage to the environmental movement. And then I see overnight they want to change it back. 50, 60, 70, 80, 100 years. This is, you can't believe what's happening. So we have to, everybody, as Angie said, everybody's got to get involved. You know, we do have the votes. We do have the people. You know, and it has to be the people saying, no, we can't go this way anymore. We have to make a difference. We have to go to a reasonable future. We have to think about our children, our grandchildren, our future generations. What is this country going to be if we continue down this path? So I ask for your vote. I ask for your support for my campaign. As Angie said, we all need contributions. We all need support. And I ask for you to be involved. Get your neighbors involved. Get your friends involved. Do what you can, because this is a crucial election, and we have to make a difference.
That's right.
And so I ask that for your support.
Thank you so much. So I do actually just have one more question, because this gentleman here actually helped us get this establishment today in order to do this town hall, so I think he gets to break the rules a little bit, unless y'all disagree with me, and you can tell him yourself. But can you just tell everyone in the room who you are, in case they don't know who you are, and then the question for the candidate?
I think most of the people know me here. I'm Judson Brown. I've been in the community for all of my life. I think about so many African American communities and how they've been gentrified. I was just in Jacksonville, in your area last week, and the area where I went to school, I went to FBC. I know you don't know what FBC is, Florida Bible College. But it's all gone. I look around, St. Petersburg, 22nd Street is gone. Central Avenue campus is gone. Overtown in Sarasota is gone. What mechanisms we have to keep our community sustained and to make sure they don't go away? Because that is our voting power too. Be intact. So it's important that our politicians get involved. We are a historical district. We're one of the few communities in the country still here. We know, Newtown, that's why but we fought against gentrification. But we want to make sure that they don't happen to all of the other communities throughout the country in the state of Florida. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. So thank you for that. I definitely believe that one of the ways we need to do that is looking at like the housing issue that's happening right now. A lot of people are being driven out of their neighborhoods because there's these equity firms that are purchasing all of these single family homes that should be illegal. I would be happy to push legislation around that, as well as limiting the amount of investment single family properties that investors can purchase. I got friends as investors, but there really ain't no need for you to have over 25 single family homes. I believe single families should own single family homes and not one investor owning all the lot, right? I also believe that we need to make sure we need to stop the attacks on DEI and all the things so that we can preserve some of these neighborhoods. And we also need to look at just the transportation aspect of it. The way in which these highways and things were developed, it was through racism and redlining, and like they bulldozed through black communities. We saw it in La Villa and Jacksonville, Overtown down in Miami. We saw it in Eatonville, right? Like they bulldozed. And so like if we are thinking about growth and development, it needs to be smart. It needs to be really sensitive, culturally sensitive. And the way in which we do that is not roll back DEI things, right? Like we have to make sure that DEI is fully integrated into everything that we do so that you won't have those issues. And then like if you really want to go hard, they're going to call me, but they already called me a radical. I was in Byron Donaldson's commercial as a radical, they labeled me a radical, but I really believe in universal basic income until we are able to right these wrongs. I believe that we need to tax these billionaires and make sure regular hardworking people get a universal basic income a month. And there is like in Stockton, they did this, in Stockton, California, and it showed that if you really look, a lot of the folks, they use that money to pay for their most basic needs. And that will help people stay in their homes. That will help people have food on their tables and roofs over their heads, keep our kids like like watched by their parents because their parents ain't gotta work 2 and 3 jobs. And so it can happen. Universal basic income, y'all should look that up.
Thank you so much, Angie. Tamika?
I 100% agree with Angie. I'm gonna piggyback off this, and I know it sounds redundant, but we have to be careful of who we elect in these positions that make those decisions. They're receiving, they go and they get these contracts from the local, in their local city, whether it is the county or the city. They're getting these contracts, but they're saying, hey, I want to build affordable homes, but the houses are not affordable. So I would like to know what definition of affordable are they going by? You know, I see even in my neighborhood, they have destroyed all of the orange groves and replaced them with these apartments that aren't even filled before they're building more right next to them. And, you know, my sons are old enough to, or should be, looking at buying a home. And they don't know when they're going to be able to buy a home or if they're going to be able to buy a home. I have an adult son, I have 2 adult sons in the home with me. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get them out. You know, but I'm happy to have somewhere that they can continue to stay. But the issue is that this is a problem. And we have to attack this, not from just a standpoint of it being, you know, that they're actually destroying the African American communities, but they're destroying all communities. They're destroying the land. We can't even buy land to actually build a home. So this is an ongoing problem. And it does relate back to the individuals that we put in control, and we have to make sure that we elect the right people to make these decisions. Thank you.
Alrighty, and that is a quick response from Mr. Montavon, and then we'll be moving on to our school board candidates.
I'm good, I think.
Hashtag same. Alrighty, thank you so much. We can get a round of applause for our federal candidates. Ms. Angie Nixon running for U.S. Senate. Mr. Matthew Montavon running for Congress here in FL-17. And then Ms. Tamika Lyles, who is running for Congress in FL-16, also here in Sarasota now. Alrighty, our federal candidates are more than welcome to go get a drink or a snack in the hall if they would like. It's going to be down to your right, just keep following the hall all the way to the end. And then we are going to be having our school board candidates come up. So if I could just get a little round of applause, I'll be introducing them. We have District 1, who is going to be here in the Newtown area and surroundings. It's going to be Mr. Jimmy Glover. For District 4, we have Miss Megan Tennimon. And then all the way from the south side of Sarasota, we have Miss Beth Mayberry for District 5. And the wonderful thing about Sarasota County and the Sarasota County School Board election on August 18th is that you can vote for all 3 of these candidates. You are not held to just your district. So if you want to see the best thing for your community and the best thing for your students and for our students and for your children, these are the 3 that I would definitely go for. And I'm going to hand this off to Amanda to let you introduce them to you. Sorry, I'm not a great public speaker.
All right, how are we doing? Do we need to wiggle our legs, shake our hands? No? We're doing okay? All right. I'm going to start on the far end of the table with Mr. Jimmy Glover, who is a community leader, education advocate, and longtime airline professional with more than 30 years of leadership experience at United Airlines. Throughout his career, he has led teams, managed complex operations, and worked through high-pressure situations that demanded accountability, communication, and practical problem solving. Jimmy and his wife, Medalia, a former Sarasota County teacher, have called Sarasota home for the past 10 years. They are the proud parents of 4 children, all of whom attended and graduated from Sarasota County Public Schools, with their youngest daughter graduating this year. Deeply committed to education and community service, Jimmy serves as president of the board of Star Lab, a literacy-focused school in the heart of Newtown, dedicated to helping young students who have fallen behind in reading. He also serves on Booker High School's School Advisory Council and on the board of Friends of the Betty J. Johnson North Sarasota Public Library. Jimmy believes strong public schools are essential to strong communities. His work has been guided by a simple principle: listen to people, bring them together, and stay focused on solutions that improve outcomes for children and families. Thanks for being here, Jimmy. In the middle, we have Ms. Megan Tennimon, who is a lifelong Sarasota resident, deeply rooted in the community she hopes to serve. A proud 1997 graduate of Sarasota High School, Megan comes from a true sailor family. Her mom is also an SHS alum, and her 3 kids now represent the 3rd generation attending Sarasota County schools. After graduating high school, Megan attended Manatee Community College. It was called that when I went there too. It's now State College of Florida. Earning her associate degree before continuing her education at USF Sarasota, where she earned a bachelor's degree in early childhood education. In 2001, she began her career as a 2nd grade teacher at Gosio Elementary School. 2nd grade, oof. Bless her heart. After becoming a mom, Megan chose to stay home to raise her family and work at home for her husband's payroll and insurance business. As her children went through their school years, Megan has served in countless roles across Fruitville Elementary, Sarasota School of the Arts and Sciences, McIntosh Middle, and Sarasota High School. Everything from PTO president and treasurer to volunteer coordinator, fundraiser, event planner, and exam proctor. Shoo! Megan is running for Sarasota School Board to give back to the schools that shaped her family and to be a positive voice for students, parents, and teachers. Thank you, Megan, for being here. And last but not least, a real party animal, Beth Mayberry is a retired Sarasota County teacher and a former certified financial planner. What? She served on government and community boards, volunteered with youth organizations, and owned a small business. Her 3 children were educated in Sarasota's public schools, and now her grandchildren are attending. And you are representing Northport, which we have not had Northport representation on the school board. This is the 80s?
Over 35 years.
Yes. All right, thank you, Beth Mayberry, for being here. All right, so we'll go back where we started. Jimmy?
Right here, right now. Thank you so much for coming out. Just a little bit about myself that you didn't mention. I'm originally from New Jersey. Anybody from New Jersey in the room? Yes, I have my people here. Thank you so much. Glad you guys made it out here. I went to high school in New Jersey. I went to public high school in New Jersey, so I'm a big believer in public education. After I graduated high school, I went to the University of Miami for Sun and Fun. Graduated my degree in communications, and once I did graduate college, I worked a few odd jobs, and then I saw an ad for a flight attendant in the newspaper. I said, you know what, maybe I'll try that out. You know, it might be a little bit of fun. And they actually accepted me. I went there with the idea that I would fly for maybe 3 to 5 years, go see the world, have fun. And 31 years later, I am still a flight attendant for United Airlines. I'm based in Newark, New Jersey. Being at United Airlines has given me leadership skills, crisis management skills, and just knowing how to deal with people. And from what I've seen from the current school board, those are skills I'm definitely going to need right now, because it's definitely been an interesting ride on the current school board. But the best thing that happened to me at United Airlines is I met my wife. I met my wife. We had 4 children, and we eventually moved to Sarasota. But, you know, like most young parents, when you're looking for a place to live, the first thing you look for is, okay, what are the schools like? So when we were looking, we found that Sarasota had an A-rated school district. So we moved our kids up here, and I'm proud to say that it's kind of strange to say, because my daughter just graduated a couple weeks ago, but we now have 4 graduates of the Sarasota County school system. All 4 of my kids graduated Booker High School right here, right up the road. I'm very proud to say that. And I don't say that, I'm not bragging, because all my kids are going to be going to college, and I don't say that to brag. What I'm saying is that Sarasota Public Schools has provided the opportunity for my kids to go to college. Now, it's going to go to my first point. College may not be for everyone. It was for my family, but you know what? There's a lot of kids who college is a choice, but there are a lot of kids who are really good with their hands. And maybe a trade school is good for them. Maybe there are some kids who just want to go straight into the workforce. That's an opportunity for them. There are some kids who want to go into the military, and that's also a choice for them. But for me, when I'm on the school board, I want to make sure that when those kids are going in 9th grade, I want to make sure that they're either college or career ready. I come from the Dr. Shelley School of Booker High School. If you know anything about Dr. Shelley, she talks about the kids, who she calls her babies, is she makes sure that every person who graduates Booker High School is either college or career ready. I believe that you should have a plan going into 9th grade, and then it gives you a chance not only to realize what you might want to do, because a lot of us, when we went into high school, we wanted to be doctors or lawyers or nurses, but then you find out what they do, and you're like, well, maybe not. It gives you the chance to find out what you might not want to do, which is just as important. I believe in college and career readiness. Secondly, I believe that all our kids need to be reading on literacy levels. Right now, what disturbed me, what really got me into this race was I noticed that the literacy levels here in Newtown were lower than most in the county. And I was really, really disturbed by that. As a result, I decided to start a school with a friend of mine to help improve those literacy levels here in Newtown, right over here at Janie's Garden, to give our children the opportunity to come up on grade school level. What we do is we bring those kids into our system, because the bottom line is this, is that all kids don't learn the same way. There are some kids who can sit at a desk and be quiet and do the work, but there are other kids, they get up, they got to move around and do all sorts of stuff. And unfortunately, sometimes those kids get labeled as an issue. But what happens is we give them a Montessori-style curriculum where they can get up, they can move around, and eventually they're going to learn what they need to learn, which is very important. We can't let those children go by the wayside. Lastly, we need to be respecting our teachers. Our teachers are the most important people in our children's lives besides us parents. And to be honest with you, a lot of those teachers spend more time with our kids than we do. Think about that. We go to work, those teachers are with our kids. If they know what they have to do, they have to go home and have to support their families. Who's supporting them? They're being disrespected in pay. They're being disrespected by not allowing them to be able to teach the things that they want to teach. And there's a culture of fear that permeates throughout the school district and throughout the state of Florida that needs to be stopped right away. Now, I say all these things and people go, well, that's you want to do this, you want to do that. And you're right, because it's all lip service if we're all just talking about it. The key word in what we need to do is we need to be able to connect. That's the missing word. So when I say college and career readiness, I'm talking about connecting our kids with the workforce here in Sarasota, with the Chamber of Commerce. A big problem in underserved communities is that they don't have mentors. And we know when you get to a job, it's not about what you know a lot of times, it's about who you know. Now, if we could start our children on a pathway to success when they're in high school and they're matched up with a mentor here at the Chamber of Commerce or a local business, now, one, they're learning whether or not they want to do that business or not, but they're giving the skill set, the soft skills that are needed when you're in the workforce of how do I talk to this person, resume writing, how do I conduct a meeting. That's the stuff we need to be teaching our children for their pathway to success. Connection, reading levels, connection. We need to, see this thing right here? With our children, we need to be able to connect with our kids the way this thing is connected to our children right now. If we can find a way to connect the way this is connected to our kids, we'd have amazing results. Now, what does connection look like as far as literacy?
Sir, Jimmy,
Right.
the time, we're done to wrap it up, I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah. Oh, I know how much time. 3 minutes? Okay. All right. Over 5 already? Yeah, I usually come in under. But, you know what?
We're about 6, but we'll let Jay get
No. She'll come back to me. We're all good. But yeah, so what I want to do is just make sure that there are 2 things that the people of Sarasota feel that's going on with the current school board. They feel like we can't trust them and they're not being listened to. So I'll come back to those 2 points when I have some more time towards the end.
We'll make sure we get you.
Hello, thank you so much for being here. There's so many faces that I haven't seen, so I'm so excited to be here today. My name is Megan Tennimon. It rhymes with cinnamon. So that is how when you look on your ballot, look for the name that rhymes for cinnamon, and you are good to go on August 18th. My campaign is focused on I am not a politician. I am a mom, I am a former teacher, and I am an advocate of public school. For too long, our school board, it's been about a decade actually, has been plagued by political theater, drama, and nothing to do with academics or improving our schools, our teachers, or our students. A vote for me is a vote to end the drama and restore the decency that we need to have in our county schools. I'm the mom of 3 teenagers. Yes, it's expensive, but it's worth it because I love watching my kids come home and talk to me about everything they have learned. Sarasota County schools are A-rated for a reason. We have programs and schools and opportunities available for every type of learner. The problem is we are losing our families. We are losing our students to private schools and to private sector charter schools, as well as homeschooling. Because a few years ago, our government in Tallahassee decided to remove the income cap from our voucher program, opening up to every single student in the state of Florida. Now that sounds like choice, but it is not, because that choice comes from taking money from our public schools. That money belongs. It is your money. It belongs in our public schools. My job as a school board member is to collaborate with the rest of the board and push back at Tallahassee to demand that that money stay with our public schools. Demand transparency, demand accountability, and tracking. And we can do that by banding together with other school boards in our state. One of the first things our school board did 4 years ago when they were elected was remove themselves from that state board of school boards. We, the 3 of us, and the 2 members on the board are going to go back and join that organization so that we have the power to change these laws that are affecting our schools. My other stance is on Jimmy's point, technology. We spend an exorbitant amount of money on educational screen programs that data has shown does nothing to increase reading or math scores, proficiency, and what it does do is rob our children of brain development and critical thinking. We need to invest in people. People is how our kids will learn. Teachers, aides, behavior specialists, counselors, those are the areas our dollars should be going. There are also ways we can invest in people that don't cost us anything. We used to have a fantastic volunteer program in Sarasota County that has gone by the wayside. We had programs like Rockin' Reader, which would increase a child's proficiency in reading, fluency, phonics, wherever that child was needing extra help. Those were in every single school, K through 3. It's only available to kindergartners now, and it doesn't even have anything to do with our district. It's put on by a volunteer organization. We need to bring our volunteer training back to our district and empower our community. Half an hour a week, that's all a child needs to get some extra reading help and to move past any of that learning challenges that they think might have. Oh, sorry, I thought you were telling me to stop. I'm usually pretty good about my time. So, ending the drama, going back to basics without our screen time, and investing in people is how we are going to keep our students here in Sarasota, how we're going to keep them in our schools, and how we are going to show our families, you don't need to leave our county schools to go to the private sector. We have everything you need right here. As your school board member, I will actively work with our community partners to bring every type of program I can into our schools that will benefit our teachers and students. I will also work within our schools to help any administration, any teacher. Boots on the ground approach is how we are going to get this done. And I know my job will be finished when those school board meetings are boring and none of you ever have to attend or worry about them again.
Just hit the button, it'll turn on.
Oh, jeez. Boomer here. It didn't work.
Hey, that might work. Thank you. Yeah, the boomer, the tech gets to me. So I want to reiterate what was said at the beginning, and that's that everybody that's here in the county has the opportunity to vote for every single one of us, and we hope that you will. August 18th is the date that you will be voting for the school board, and hopefully August 18th is the day that school board is finished, it's voted in, everybody's moving on. So please make sure that you have a plan for voting. So my name is Beth Mayberry. I was a teacher here in Sarasota County for 14 years. I've lived here in Sarasota County for 50 years, actually a resident of Northport for 33 years. Before I was a teacher, I was a certified financial planner. I was in the financial services for 25 years. I ended that career as a certified financial planner that was helping families to plan for their financial health and for their financial future. And while I was doing that, I was volunteering in our schools because I believe in public schools and I knew that our students here needed help. It was a great experience, and it's really where I found my true passion and why I became a teacher, because I realized that was what really helped me to feel fulfilled, and also I felt like I was doing something important. All of our teachers want to feel that they're doing something important. It was the following what was happening with the school board and all the chaos that was going on that really made me realize I needed to step up and run. So we need to focus back on our classrooms. We need to get away from the chaos and the political problems that we're seeing and try to bring our families and our community back together. Because our kids need that. Our kids need to feel that they have a community that is committed to them. And as a community, that is going to help us to stop some of the division that we're seeing. So I have 3 real issues that I think we're going to be facing. I'd love to tell you I've got all the answers to it. I don't. As a community, these are problems we're going to have to solve. The first is funding. Since 2002, Sarasota citizens have voted not just once, but 6 times to increase their own taxes so they can increase their investment in their child's public education. That commitment is being dismantled as we speak. Next year, millions of dollars from our Sarasota County are going to for-profit schools and private schools, for-profit charters. That's a travesty because that money is not for everyone. That money is going to for-profit corporations. That is going to cripple our school system if it continues. We need to make sure that we have strong financial responsibility in the district and people that are fully committed and have a conviction to our public schools. We have not seen that on our majority school board, and that's not something that my opponent has either. Second issue, we have got to address student and teachers' mental health because there's no way to separate the two. We have too many students who are apathetic, they're disengaged, and they're just struggling to show up to school every day. We have rising incidences of school reluctance, apathy, and major disturbances in the classroom. Behavior is a big issue. Those things are not just behavior, discipline problems. Those are real distress signals telling us that our kids need extra help. In the meantime, we have our teachers who are carrying more than ever. They're getting less support than ever. and we're paying them worse than ever. They're 50th in the nation, which is pretty sad. When our teachers burn out, it's our kids that pay the price. And it's our kids' futures that we need to be looking to, because our kids are our futures. Once again, we need to make sure that we are consistent with our discipline, that we have a plan to address mental health, both for our teachers and our students, and that we are looking actively for solutions to lower the anxiety that our kids feel that's keeping them from learning. Third, we have an issue in Sarasota County. We have a very odd-shaped economy here. We have some areas that are very low in socioeconomic status, kids that are living in poverty. We have some areas...
I'm sorry, we gotta wrap it up.
5 minutes, really? Wrap it up? Wow, that was quick.
5:15.
Wow, okay. So we need to make sure all of our kids are excelling regardless of the opportunity or the advantages that they have. Those are the 3 things that are important to me.
I just want to apologize. I did not know that not all the candidates were informed about the 5 minutes. So, yeah, I apologize. I need a clock on the table. Yeah, next time I'll make it so that like I make a noise or something when there's a minute left, but I wasn't aware. And thank you all for being here.
We are going to open up the floor to questions. So if anybody has a question for any of the candidates, if you feel free to raise your hand, I'll be more than happy to bring you over a mic. Sorry, right here first, and then I'll go right over to you, okay?
I am very concerned that even though these charter schools, private schools can use our tax dollars, children registered and attending those schools cannot get library cards. So if the money is good enough, one of the requisites to obtain the money should be the same as for public schools. And to say that the financial systems are different is not a good enough reason for children attending other schools, other charter schools, private schools, whatever, other than public schools, can't get a library card. So I have middle schoolers right now that I use my card for. And if they can't get a library card, they can't check anything out. And we have too many children now who don't understand the library. We used to have a class in library science. I'm back in the 50s now, okay? But there was a class in library science, and that's how I learned the Dewey Decimal System. But now, everything is so automatic, we're not teaching them, and we don't have the same requisites for these independent schools that we have for our public schools. And we're in Sarasota County, will not allow you to even substitute without a 4-year degree, not an associate, without a 4-year degree. You cannot be on the sub-list. We don't have those rules for the other dollars that we're spending in independent schools, but we need to. Goose and gander. So how would you address that? And maybe more people would be as upset about it as I am if they knew about it.
Sure. I would do this again.
Okay, so I wasn't aware about this, the library cards. That's something I have to check out. The one thing I would say is this: we don't have any control over what those other schools teach. Our public schools have a mandated set of standards. We have about 1,400 pages of rules and regulations and mandates that public schools have to follow. Every other school that's receiving this money does not have that same set of rules. So we're being tasked to do stuff at a higher level, and the playing field just isn't level. So my feeling is that if we're paying I'm a taxpayer, if I'm paying my taxpayer money, and it's going to these alternative places besides our public schools, there should be a level playing field. All the rules should be the same for all of them, and there should be accountability for all of them. And there isn't. So other than pushing back, which is what we all as a community are going to need to do to solve this problem, we need to push back on Tallahassee. Like Megan said, joining that Federation of School Boards gives us more lobbying power. We have a lobbyist. We need to use that lobbyist to make sure they understand we want, if you want vouchers, that's fine. If Florida wants to have vouchers, that's Florida's decision. But that amount of money, that money should not be taken out of the public school system. And those, if you're going to compare the two, they need to be compared under the same rules. So make it fair.
I 100% agree with you as well. This has been a thorn in my side for many, many years. And the argument that the voucher system was supposed to level the playing field is completely moot, because there isn't a single private school in Sarasota County that the tuition is covered by the voucher. The private schools are making money off of this voucher system because they are charging tuition on top of the voucher. And I don't blame these families for taking it. It is being shown to them as, oh, look, come to our school and you qualify for this. We are asking, as advocates of public education, the voucher system started with very good intentions. It was supposed to serve students who, for whatever reason, were not thriving in their public school. I fully admit, public school, there are some students who might be better served at a private school. They may have learning differences. They, for whatever reason, are not thriving. However, that should not be available to every single student. When it is no longer a scholarship, it is free money. Advocates for the voucher reform want the income cap put back on. We want a tracking system, because on any given day, the state cannot account for 30,000 students who are using that program. And we want guidelines for what this money can be used for, especially for homeschoolers, because many homeschool students are using this voucher for things like Disney passes and labeling them field trips, for club sports and labeling them as physical education. I don't know about you, but if my kids participate in those things, it comes out of my back pocket. The state does not pay for that. So as Beth said, please advocate, get involved. Even if you don't have kids in our schools, this is your money still going to pay these private entities and allowing private schools to profit at the expense of our students who really need that money.
All right, just so we could go back to, I think you were talking about just, we would start out with the library cards, right? And so for me, I believe that every child, every family should be entitled to a library card. I don't care if you go to public school, private school, homeschool, whatever school, it doesn't make a difference. If you are a citizen of Sarasota County, you should be able to walk into the library, say, I would like a library card, and they should print it out for you. No questions asked. We have to encourage learning. If a child is coming into a library and getting denied access to a library card because of what school they're going to or what they're doing, we are doing this all wrong. That is, we need to reform that. I will do whatever I can to see that every child can get a library card here in Sarasota. I just wanted to just answer that question right there. I know we kind of dwelled into a private voucher conversation as a result of that. There are schools here in Sarasota that do take the voucher system and don't charge any money on top of it. I know because I'm the board president of one that does that. A school called Star Lab. We take the vouchers, but we don't charge anything on top of that. I'm disturbed to know that the kids who go to my Star Lab school cannot get library cards. That's very disturbing to me. And I'm going to do whatever I can to change that as well. But I don't want to demonize parents who homeschool their kids, parents who put their kids in private schools, or use the voucher system. There's a world that exists where we can all coexist. It's not, oh, they're bad, they're good. You know, I think sometimes we get caught up in the news and you see one family that might have done that. But most of the time, a lot of these homeschool parents, you really need to talk to them because there's a lot of different reasons as to why they're homeschooling. A lot of parents homeschool their children because of a physical ailment with that child or an emotional ailment with that child that the public school just can't deal with at times. What you end up having is that you have parents who are getting called by the schools every single day because they cannot handle that child. Not all of our public schools, even though they're required to take on all children, not all schools are equipped to handle every type of child. And in those situations, you know what? The parents have to make a decision for what's best for their child. So, like I said, there's all sorts of stories. There's all areas of the spectrum here. So I want to make sure that, you know what, we take each situation separately. Just like every child doesn't learn the same, every parent who uses the voucher uses it for a different reason. So I just want to put that out there. So we're not alienating anybody. Once again, I just believe that every child here in Sarasota has the opportunity to be their best. And that's all I want when I'm on the school board.
Here, I've got one that is on for you.
I can just speak Hi. We all know that the U.S. is in a progressively worse and worse literacy crisis, and a large portion of that is getting increasingly contributed to the use of generative AI, especially in schools. I was wondering if any of your campaigns would address this, and in Sarasota schools, how you would try to limit the use of generative AI among students on things like essays, on exams, etc.
Well, I personally believe that we really need to, I may sound like the old man in the room, but when I was going to school, we were taught cursive writing. There are classes like penmanship. In high school, I had shop class. And those are things that now that we look back on it, those are the classes that help form us. We didn't have all the screen time. I really believe what's happening is that there's a word that I've been using in my campaign, and it's connection. Now, you can have good connection, which I feel is when you're teaching your child how to read, the importance of reading before bedtime. It's more than just reading to your child. Here comes the word, it's a connection. You're connecting with your child in that moment. That's deeper than just you're teaching them reading. We cannot just give our kids a laptop or a tablet that has something on the screen telling them their ABCs. That's a different sort of connection, which leads to disconnect. And what we're doing by putting a lot of this AI, a lot of these computer tablets into our school system is our children are now having a disconnect with the human experience. We cannot get rid of the human experience. There's nothing like the human experience because the human experience does something that a computer cannot do. When I'm on the school board, I'm going to look in to see how much time are we spending or we're putting these tablets in front of these children. What are these companies that are coming in and having our kids log in? What kind of information are they getting from our kids? All they're doing, as far as I can see, is making our kids addicted to this type of learning, to the point where if they get used to learning on this tablet, when my child comes home and I'm like, hey, I want to do your homework with you, they're so disconnected from the human experience that they don't even know how to interact with me. And we cannot have that. We really need to go back to how we were doing things before, and we need to make sure that we are monitoring AI and make sure that there are guardrails, because just like you wouldn't give your kid a cigarette or a drink, which are addictive qualities, AI is just as addictive. We need to look out for that.
So thank you for that question because it is very important. And that is where I was going in my intro with our back to basics. I have 3 kids, 2 in high school, 1 in middle school, and I asked my middle schooler on any given day, how many computer programs does he have to access? And at one point it was 7, for math, for reading, for even career planning. And how much does that cost, right? So this is where I said we need to go back, I think we're all in agreement with this, to the basics. Our elementary school students have 0 business being in front of a screen. They need to be working with pencil, paper, blocks, counting units. I taught 2nd grade. This is how we're supposed to learn. We're supposed to be engaging with our peers, with caring adults in the classroom. I do know at the high school level, because I have 2 high schoolers, that they do have to submit their work through an AI checker. That being said, there's so many things that they have to get online to do. Even having to do your work through an AI checker is counterproductive because you're still on the screen. You're still not participating with a human in a group. I remember when I was in high school, we didn't have access to a computer right in front of us. We had to go to the library, we had to check books out, we had to have conversations with the people in our group. And that is what we need to get back to, because that is how our students are going to be prepared for the workplace and to work cooperatively with people and to engage in intelligent conversation. I call them the instant gratification generation, because if you think about it, you take a picture, right? It's on your phone. You want to, how many times have we told our kids, I don't know, Google it. We need to get back to go look at a book, go get a map, go ask a friend, ask your teacher. It's when we invest in these human interactions of bringing our volunteers back into our classrooms and moving away from the technological programs, that is how we're going to see a much better outcome for our students.
So, generative AI is a tool, and it's an imperfect tool. And it's a tool that students don't always have the critical thinking skills to police. So the studies that have been done have actually shown that they are not helpful to our students. They're actually causing the students to, instead of them thinking through, getting the information and trying to, assimilate it and put it into their own words, they're actually showing, the studies are actually showing that it's a substitute for that. The AI gives them it and they take it and they don't ever even have to hardly read it, they just push it through. So at our higher levels, I think we do need to be teaching our kids how to use the tool, but we have to make sure that the tool itself isn't doing the work. The kids need to be doing the work. They can certainly use the tool, but they need to know how, and we need to make sure it's not actually replacing that brain work that's going on that the kids need to do to understand how to gather, evaluate, analyze, and then spit out, in their own words, the information that they're assimilating. Does that make sense?
All right. I do have mine on. Alrighty, I do have a question from the bucket. It is for Jimmy, and somebody wants to know what the difference is between you and your other District 1 candidates.
The question seems familiar.
Yeah, so I am running against 2 other ladies here in District 1. The biggest difference is they try and sound a lot like me, but they're not me. And they're not me because my one opponent, she was a person who was part of Moms for Liberty. She believed in their principles as far as banning books, as far as going against LGBTQ rights, and those are things that I don't believe in, and I continue not to believe in those things. So for that one opponent, I'm totally against what she agrees with. My other opponent is been endorsed by the Republican Party. Now, it's the same Republican Party that has endorsed our current school board chair, Bridget Ziegler. Here's the issue I have with both of them. When they were both presented a chance to say what they disagreed with this current school board chair, neither one of them had a bad word to say about her. Now what that tells me is that they both agree with the policies and they want to continue the policies that they've been putting forth as far as, the last 10 years. They're fine with the way things are going. So when they asked me that question, I said, I don't agree with anything that she does. You know why I don't agree with it? Because there's a lack of leadership, and most importantly, there's a lack of compassion with her. We cannot have a school board member who lacks compassion for our kids. You ask, why compassion? Why do I use that word compassion? If you all know about the ICE resolution that was brought forth here in Sarasota County, it brought tremendous fear here in the community. And she was the one, Bridget Ziegler, I'll mention her by name, she brought that resolution up. And it stoked so much fear in this community. A lot of my daughter's friends were fearful to go to school. One of my daughter's best friends didn't go to school for 2 weeks as a result of that resolution. And here's the funny thing about that. No, it's not funny, because I'm not even going to make light of it. The problem is, you would have thought that she brought up the ICE resolution because she actually really believed in the ICE resolution. But the only reason she brought up the ICE resolution was because she had an issue with another school board member. She had an issue with that school board member going to a particular protest. So she decided she'd bring up this ICE resolution to go ahead and try and get him fired off the school board. She was willing to put all of our children's lives in jeopardy, have this whole community in fear, just for, as the kids say, a beef. A beef. Now, we cannot have a school board member who's willing to do that, but we cannot also have two people who are running for school board who cannot call her out on that. Refuse. They've had numerous opportunities to call her out. When they say, hey, is there anything that you agree with her or disagree with her? Not once have they disagreed with any policy. And so for that reason, I am different, and for that reason, you need to vote for me on August 18th, because I do have compassion for all of our kids.
My next question in the box, it goes to Megan, and this person wants to know, what does every student every day mean to you?
Every student every day. All of them. It means actually making policy that is inclusion and welcomes all backgrounds, all religions, all, it doesn't matter who you love, what you want to wear, it is every student every day. And when we are on the board, that will be enacted, because the policy you're getting right now is not every student every day. And in August, on the 18th, we have the power to flip this and have a board that truly lives up to the district's motto of every student every day.
And I've got one more question before I give you all your outros. Sorry, we are running a little late, and I will have somebody that's a special guest here tell you why Sarasota is an hour from Sarasota once we're all done. But the last question here is for Beth, and it's the same question that I gave Jimmy. Somebody wants to know how you are different from your opponent in District 5.
My opponent is an extremist. All you have to do is go to YouTube. You can look up her name and type in her name in Sarasota County School Board, and you can listen to the many, many tirades that she has subjected our school board to in her public comments. The last one that she spoke at, that I was aware of, was all about how the lanyard that was yellow that we gave the students way back in COVID to indicate a medical exemption for masking so that teachers weren't harassing the kids to put their mask on, how that was like the Jewish star. And she continued on about how that was a terrible, horrible, awful thing to have given the kids. Now, there was no real policy for that. It was not a school board decision. It was something that one of the, or maybe a couple of the schools did to try to keep the teachers aware of the students that didn't have to wear masks. But again, all you have to do is look at her YouTube and find her. I have a strong history of financial responsibility. I've never been evicted. I've never been foreclosed on. I was an actual classroom teacher in the class. I'm still a certified teacher. So I've been present in our public schools. And every single one of my kids spent every single hour of their school career in our public schools. None of that is true of my opponent. So that's how I'm different. My desire is not just a public office. This is the first and only time I've run, and I don't anticipate running for any other office, because all I really care about is making sure our kids are getting what they need. And I wouldn't be running if that person wasn't my opponent, because she is one of the major reasons I stepped up to the plate, because we needed to find somebody that would be able to challenge her. I don't want my grandkids in a school that she is representing, and I don't want my community of Northport to be represented by that either.
Alrighty, sorry, I do just have one last community question, and then I will go to your outros.
You guys are great.
Thank you.
My daughter went through all the schools in Sarasota from the 70s on, and I tell people every day, Sarasota prepares the kids for college. My daughter went through Boston College and graduated with honors and never missed a lick. She was in an accident her first year and had to make it up the second year and graduated with the kids. All Sarasota schools. And since the boys in Tallahassee took over, you guys have had a fight for this. Charter schools, just one quick question. What are they doing with the bad charter schools that don't financially make it? Have you got any answers for that? Then I'll sign them up, because I get wound up.
Sorry, I'll just take it real quick. In 5 years, many of the private schools that start up, a lot of them fold within 5 years. So they take your money, they build the school, and then maybe they teach 1 or 2 years. I don't know if you know who Byron Daniels is, or Donalds is, sorry. Byron Donalds, who's looking to be a governor here. But his wife built a charter school down in Lee County. She used taxpayer money to build the school. She had 250 kids who were signed up to go to that school, and then they never opened the school because it went bankrupt before they even opened it. So somebody got those assets. Somebody made money off of those contracts. Somebody bought a bunch of stuff that somebody made a profit on. So right now, Florida is not punishing those companies. Years ago, we had a school board that was able to prevent charter schools from coming in. It was up to the school board. They had to present before them, and the school board could decide to have them or not to have them. Now the state can tell us they can come in, and the district doesn't have any choice. So there's no punishment at this point for bad charter schools. That's it. Absolutely.
Right. Tell everybody you know we need that.
Trees, we only voted trees though.
That's right.
We can triple it. That was very important. People go and they don't know.
That you can vote for all three? Yes.
Every single one of us, please.
Just multiply these by 3.
Alrighty, I am just letting everyone ask their questions because I don't want to turn away voters, so they'll mad at me, I'm sorry.
I just have one question, because are there any Sarasota schools that have low population? You heard that before.
Yeah, we have schools that have low population in them. And you're probably kind of referring to what happened with the Schools of Hope situation, where they were looking to come into our public schools and take them over. But the formula for that is a capacity issue. So they're looking at the space. And so what we did as a county, we are very swift, and I have to give our current superintendent credit. He was able to look at what they wanted to do and then make sure that space was utilized so they couldn't take it over. When I say utilization of the space, I'm saying that, for example, here in Newtown, the Bookers, one of the Bookers would be used as a daycare, so we could take up that space. At another one of the Bookers, they're going to use a company called Junior Achievement, and what they have is called a Biz Town, which is like a mini town in which the children of Sarasota County and all surrounding counties can now come, and it's like a mini city, so they'll learn financial literacy and all sorts of things as far as balancing a checkbook and that type of thing. But what it did was, it took up the space in those schools, so now when you're looking at the capacity issue, there's no capacity for them to come in.
And I just want a real quick add-on, and it's really kind of an advertisement for these other folks. When we had Danny Nix, Buchanan, and Fiona McFarland at the South County Tiger Bay, we asked that question, that there was a Senate bill that would have fixed some of this, Senate Bill 318, and we asked those House representatives, why didn't you come up with a companion bill? And their response was, we ran out of time. My response to that is, we didn't run out of time. Our kids just were not your priority. So that's what our representatives think of us, and that's why we need change.
I'll be very quick. It was very concerning when all of that happened in the fall. And I will echo Jimmy's sentiments by saying I was so amazed with our superintendent, and really it kind of reimagined a lot of our schools. So we now have Gulf Coast Academy at Brookside. We have turned several of our schools from just K through 5 into K through 8. So the district looked at something that could potentially be very devastating and said, oh, not going to happen on our watch, and really, really stepped up to the plate. Another thing that is really impressive is at Wilkinson, which was at low capacity, we now have the Sarasota Children's Museum is there. So all good things came out of something that could be potentially devastating, and I will leave that with you as something very positive that happened.
Alrighty, thank you so much. If I could just get one more round of applause for our school board candidates came out today. And we're going to go down the line from highest to lowest because this is Jimmy's district. I want to start with Beth, we'll go to Megan, and then we'll end with Jimmy on our outro, so that way you can just know a little bit more about them, get a final impression of them, and hopefully we see you again before August 18th. And if we don't, we'll see you on August 18th.
Again, I just want to say, this has been it's a wonderful community here. Sarasota is a wonderful community. We have really wonderful schools. We really need to make sure we are promoting our schools to our population, and that we are holding firm on our expectations from our elected officials. Because you shouldn't be electing people to a school board that aren't going to do what's right for the public schools. That's what the school board does. And I promise you, I'm going to do what's right for our children and for our schools. Thank you.
You deserve a school board that works for you, because you are the individuals who elect us to the board. I, as a school board member, will open the communication back up to our teachers, invite them back into this space, and really let them know their opinion is valued and their opinion is needed. Right now, the message being sent from our current school board is we don't care and we don't want to see you. As evident as pushing the school board meetings to 10 a.m. when working parents, teachers, and students cannot attend. As a united board, we will push that back to a meeting time that everybody can be involved. I also want to make sure teachers can come and celebrate, not just talking about the doom and gloom sometimes. Before our meetings were at 10, we had sports teams come in. We had the Kilty band. I want to move back to that celebration that we had before all of this chaos came in. And a vote from you on August 18th is a vote that flips the board and ends all this drama and gets back to education policy. Policy that positively affects our teachers, positively affects our students, and therefore keeps our families in the district.
All right, I'm going to stand up for this one because it's really too important. I told a group of people that I spoke to last week, this is not a drill right now. Public education is on the ballot right now. We don't have time to play around anymore. We don't have time for people to sit at home on their couch waiting for things to get done. We got to ask the question. Every one of us has to ask the question. What are you going to do about it? 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 We cannot sit here complaining anymore. We got to get up off of our butts and we got to start. It starts at home. I talk about your warm market, your home. Make sure everybody in your house is registered to vote. Once you do that, talk to your relatives. After you do that, you know what? All of us, we have 500, 1,000 Facebook friends. What are we doing with them? Make sure that all your friends know that on August 18th, it starts. It starts August 18th. A lot of people talk about, oh, I'll see you in November. No. Public education is on the ballot August 18th. This is not a drill. I'm serious when I say this. I need to make sure that all of you are doing everything possible to make sure you turn out this vote. This is going to be the most important election in Sarasota County School Board history. Why do I know that? Because we're going to make history. I'm not sure if any of you all know this, but in the 100-plus year history of Sarasota County, there has never been a person of color on the Sarasota County School Board. I'm not sure if you're all familiar with that, but that's the truth. Now, come August 26th, you can choose to be a part of history. Right now, join me in August 18th in making history in Sarasota County. We can do this, we will do this. But like I said, remember, this is not a drill. We need full participation from everybody. Because you know what? When people see what we do here in Sarasota, guess what? We did that in August, we take that momentum, and we go to November. And then we elect a governor who is pro-public education. And then that's how we change it around. One by one by one. But it takes us getting off our butt, getting off the couch, and making sure that we're doing the right thing. Thank you, and that is my message of the day.
For the candidates, feel free to mingle. If you want to take some pictures, that's always nice. Tag them on social media. There's a bunch of literature back there. You can take some pamphlets, some brochures. Tell your neighbors, tell your coworkers, tell your friends, tell your enemies. I don't care. Tell people what's coming up in August. Did I get 3 minutes?
Yes. And then also, I do want to say that we are going to, I have my laptop here, I have an iPad here. If you have any questions about voting rights or registering to vote, please come find me. We also have voter registration information back on that pinkish purple table, and just some things that you can do. I am going to let Flo speak here for a moment. She is running for commission here, and then I will let our federal candidates say something if they have something left to say.
I'm just going to take a couple minutes. Thank you very much, everyone, for showing up, and thank you for giving me this opportunity. I'm Flo Entler, and I'm running for Sarasota City Commission. I'm just going to give you, before I get into me, a few details. Just like the school board, you have 3 votes. For the Sarasota City Commission, there are 2 seats open, so you get 2 votes. The county, you get 1 vote. The city, you get 2 votes. The school board, you get 3 votes. It's a little confusing, so spread that word. Hello neighbors, my name is Flo Entler. I'm running for Sarasota City Commission. I was born in the Bronx. I moved to Long Island when I was 5 years old, where I was raised. And I went to college upstate New York at SUNY Cortland, where I earned my bachelor's degree in speech pathology and audiology. I was the first in my family to graduate from college. I moved to Sarasota when I was 25 years old, and I've lived in our beautiful city for 37 years. I have proudly dedicated countless hours to my neighborhood and our community. I'm the president of the Arlington Park neighborhood, where I've lived for 27 years, Sarasota 37 years, and because I'm running, I had to resign as the second vice president of the Coalition of City Neighborhood Associations, CCNA. For over a decade, I've been going to bat at local issues at City Hall, at City Commission meetings, Planning Board meetings, Park and Recs meetings, Historic Preservation meetings, Public Arts Committee, to name a few. Speaking on issues such as flooding, traffic, noise, safety, affordability, and parks, the everyday issues that affect our quality of life. I am a distance runner and a marathoner, and my campaign is based on running a lap. Livability, accountability, and public good. Livability meaning asking every single time, does this make our neighborhood safer, greener, more walkable, more affordable? Accountability for no rubber stamps, for no decisions made out of public view, and for fiscal responsibility. And public good to ensure that city policies puts residents first, puts you first and not special interests. I care deeply about parks and our trees. I've spoken at City Hall about many parks. The proposed amusement park they wanted to put in Ken Thompson Park, the sale of Paul Thorpe Jr. Park to a developer. I spoke against both of those. And I spoke in favor of the conservation easement at Bobby Jones Nature Park. And I recently saved a 230-year-old Grant oak tree from a developer's axe in my neighborhood. With the help of city staff, many neighbors, and Commissioner Jen, who is also running, who couldn't make it today, was on that journey with us. The tree we nicknamed Pink Floyd still stands tall today. We named it Pink Floyd because it lives on Floyd Street, the street I live on, not my block, but my street, and it had the thread of the pink ribbon. And the reason why I tell that story, that experience showed me that when we work together, we can keep what matters even as we grow. I care deeply about our neighborhoods, our community, and our shared home. And I truly believe Sarasota must be livable for everyone, longtime residents, young families, small business owners, and renters. I'm here to listen to you, learn for you, and stand up for you. My campaign is grassroots, and I'd be honored to have your support. Spread the word, a sign in your yard. My campaign is grassroots, a donation to my campaign, and of course your vote. Because a vote for me at City Hall is a vote for you. Our voice has been stifled for the last 6 to 10 years, and that's what I want to give back, your voice at City Hall. So please, on August 18th, you get 2 votes. 5 of us are running, 3 get through. November 3rd, you get 2 votes, 2 of the 3 get seated. Flo Antler, I'd love to have your support and your vote. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to talk to you after. Flo Antler for Sarasota City Commission. Thank you so much for giving me the few minutes to talk to you.
Say this because I've been asked about the District 16 race in regards to what changes have been made to this race. We have gained 5 parts of 5 additional counties in this race. So before the redistricting, we went from Manatee County and the southeast portion of Hillsborough County. Now we have no Hillsborough County, and we've gained Polk County, DeSoto, Hardy, Pinellas, and Sarasota.
All right.
Okay? Now, here's the thing. We know, and I'm speaking candidly here, because I think you guys appreciate that more. We know that with the determination to silence the voters in this race, I must tell you that my campaign has not received defined voters for 5 of my 6 counties.
What? Say that again?
My campaign has not received the information on my voters for 5 of my 6 counties. Meaning that for many of you in here that are going to ask me, because I've already had this question and that's why I'm addressing it now. You want to know what precincts are covered in my 6 counties. I cannot tell you. I cannot tell you. We have requested this information from the state of Florida. We have requested this information from each county supervisor of elections. Only one county provided the information. All the 5 other counties said that that information was not ready yet. So I don't have a map. I don't have that information. So my campaign to combat this is bleeding money because we are determined to get the information out to as many voters as we can despite their willful intent to prevent the voters from knowing who's where. So I'm going to tell you today, if you have not gotten an updated voter registration card, call and ask for it. Request it. Because many of my voters that are now in my district have no idea that they're in my district. And some of you won't be in my district that think you are in my district. Okay? It's intent. My campaign will be doing some events here, and hopefully by the time that we come back here, we'll have more information on this. But I just want to let you know that that is the Achilles heel, the hill that we're climbing. So with that being said, with us having to spend extra money to market, we're actually having, my digital team has to send out emails and text messages beyond where we think the line is drawn because we want to make sure that we're getting the information to all the voters. So I need your help. I need you to pass the word. I need you to register to receive your vote by mail ballot. Make sure you do that. It doesn't matter if you registered last year. Look, they're purging the system. VAN, our system that we normally use to help with canvassing and to identify our voters, is not up to date. So that's why they had us to reach out to the supervisor of elections directly. And because the supervisor of elections is bogged down with ensuring that they get your updated voter registration cards, we come last. So we are now 2 months from our primary without the pertinent information that we need to ensure that we reach all of our voters. So please keep that in mind. Yes.
Are you having any difficulty with the supervisor of elections here in Sarasota? Are you? Just say yes or no.
I will say this.
Yeah.
My campaign has reached out to every supervisor of elections in all 6 counties. We received voter information on Pinellas only.
We're going to fix that.
Meaning, non-Turner haven't got in touch with you.
Yeah, we're going to fix that immediately.
No.
In Sarasota. In Sarasota.
It has not. They have, if they have responded to us, they responded with that information was not available yet. Yes. Okay, I've just been advised that there are forms back here for your mail-in. So by all means, I'm gonna go. I'm here to answer any questions. I'm gonna hang around for you. So if you have any questions for me, I'm here. And I can give you also information where you can contact my campaign directly should you need to. I thank you for having me and giving me a moment to speak with you.
Alrighty, thank you so much everybody for coming. I really appreciate you coming out and just being part of this as one giant community. And, you know, remember, August 18th is not just the primaries, it is an actual election. You get to change the school board here in Sarasota County, and you also get to choose who's going to be your Democratic nominees in those primaries. Both of those votes are the same day. Once again, there is food out in the hall back here. And if you are hungry, if you want a snack, feel free to bring some with you. There's some Coke, Sprite, water. It's a hot day out in Florida. And please mingle with some of these candidates. And if you're looking for a yard sign, get with them or get with their campaigns, and I'm sure they'll be able to get you one.